Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stalker. This is episode 103, and we are currently just trekking our way back home to Pleasant Valley. Um, it's early morning, good. We can get going. I think all this stuff is just extra stuff lying around. Okay. Oh, it's a beautiful foggy day. Now, if you happen to be jumping into this episode and hadn't really been watching prior, we had just made our way here from the zone of contamination, and we're trying to build up our supplies to go back and do the too greedy, too deep, too greedy, too greedy, too deep. I can't remember exactly which direction that's supposed to be said, but we were getting close to starting it and realizing that we don't have enough materials to try to either stay awake or heal from. And we did find a whole bunch of like birch bark teas tucked away that I had forgotten about, and rightfully so, because sometimes I record 2 or 3 of these together, and that gets me going for a few weeks, and I don't come back to it, and I forget little details like that. But nevertheless, I'm gonna go back to Pleasant Valley. We're gonna be able to gather up a whole bunch more birch bark, which would be nice, and we're gonna do our best to make some of the teas that we need, or not teas necessarily, but some of the pies. So, heard quite a few things about the prepper's pie, and we could definitely make some rose hip pies. Because we need things that'll help us stay awake once we get cabin fever. I know some people even used to utilize a trader for caffeine pills. I'm going to see if we can't do it without the trader. Nothing against Sutherland. But I just think that's going to be a longer and lengthier ordeal to get all that. Whereas if we spend some time just gathering up rose hips, because we've got quite a few of them that we haven't even touched for the most part. Not exactly like we're cold. And using tons of teas. So I've been running way behind on recordings of late. I know that a couple of things have really taken their toll on my time, not just the work hours that I deal with, but between recording a 12-hour video on episode 5 when it came out and wanting to play that, and also being heavily involved in a challenge that is running over on the podcast channel. I love this rabbit on the rock. It's so funny. It's the cliff rabbits of Winding River. No, I want to go up here. There may be... We need mushrooms and burdock. but I've been running behind on keeping up with recordings and what have you because of the handoff challenge over on the Survivor's Corner. I was very heavily involved in that, and then also with episode 5 and what have you. And if for some reason you're watching me and you don't know what I'm talking about with the handoff challenge, I highly recommend you go check it out. Essentially, what we did was Jitwire about a year ago came up with the idea. She's the author, and essentially what it is that we take several content creators and we play a long dark run, and in that run we hand our save file from one person to the next to continue the run. So in this case, we had 9 people participate in what we're calling a test run. Her and I had tested it a year ago, and just between the two of us to kind of see if it would work. And we could get it to work, but we had never tried it at scale. So we managed to get 9 fellow content creators to join us, which included, and if I miss somebody, please don't take it personally. Doing this on the fly. It included, and I'll try to go in order. It included Wandering Firekeeper. It included myself. It included Toasty Bits. It included Turkey Steam. Murph Doc. He was 5th. Grape Nut, Stars, Pickle and Archimedes, in that order. And essentially we just played vanilla Interloper, and we had a goal of, finding the tools, doing a hatchet, a hacksaw, or not a hacksaw, a hatchet, a knife, 12 arrowheads, make a bow, and make 12 arrows. And we've been running them 1 episode a day and premiering them at 3 p.m. Eastern. By the time you see this, the series should be over. But it's been a lot of fun watching everybody's reactions. It's been fun watching everybody have to start in the middle of a run and not know which way's up, so to speak, for a few minutes, and finally get their bearings. And it's been a real joy to do, and I'm hoping we'll make another run at doing a second season. But season 1 was a bit of a test, and it was very time consuming because we did a lot of production work in it. We did a lot of we did kind of a fancy intro and outro with the teasers and stuff, and it added a little bit of extra production to it all. Big shout out to Wandering Firekeeper for all of his help in that. He's really the person that made a lot of that happen. But it took a lot of coordination. It took about almost 2 months to get everything going from the moment where it's a Karen. Where we get started, and then people would do their turn and pass the baton. And we try to do it in a way where it was a blind pass, so nobody knew who was in front of them. Nobody knew what position they were in. So you could have been player 2, you could play player 6, and you wouldn't know it until you started playing. So it was a really neat concept. Jitwire did an amazing idea, and we've helped her flesh it out into something really fun. So we look forward to getting to do that again. But yeah, between that and episode 5 and all the recordings, it's way behind the recordings. And the reason I'm saying this is that at the moment, not like in a super great mood, because I'm doing this after work, which my days 10, 11 hours a day. And so by the time I get home to do recordings, I'm generally not in the most uh, perfect mood to be doing these narrations. And then Streamlabs caused me to have a near heart attack because I went to start it and it acted like it didn't know who I was and that I'd ever used it before. It was wanting to import stuff from OBS and was literally just, I mean, I spent 20 minutes trying to figure out what the heck it was doing, and typical IT fashion, I finally remembered to reboot my computer, and it cleared it up for whatever it was doing. But for a good 20 minutes as I was trying to figure out what was going on. So between this being a work night and Streamlab issues, so this is like Wednesday night. This will come out on Friday. And so as soon as, of course, you know, my thing is that once it started acting up, I'm like, oh no, what's going on? Am I going to have to rebuild this whole thing, you know, to get ready for Sunday's podcast? And what's going on? And, blah, you know, and of course, you know, the sky is falling. And so hopefully talking to you guys, going to give me a little therapy here. So I don't know how long this is going to be. It might be a slightly shorter video, depending on what we try to accomplish. If it runs long, it runs long. But don't be surprised if about 45 minutes, and I might shut this down early because I'm kind of recording this last minute. I'm wondering if I shouldn't go over to that little barn area. I thought there was burdock over there. We still need more burdock. I don't think we have much at all, do we? And we only have 2. We may have to go wandering around Pleasant Valley a bit. Something is nagging me that there is some over there. And I'm hoping these prepper pies do something positive with the cabin fever issue. I'm not exactly 100% sure. I know if they're going to work much or not. Or when do you take them? After you get the cabin fever? Or you take them before? I'm going to have to do some research on that before we get there. Hey, there's a moose. Hello, moose. Not going to mess with you. Well, we're going to spend the entire episode processing you. I don't think we need to. I think we have plenty of food back here at home. We left all our wolf clothing behind in the zone. We're going to use some of that for repairing. They're in need of repair after being attacked by a bear. I'm going to go over here and check. I don't know why I'm thinking there's a possibility of burdock hanging out over here, but we're right here. Let's go look. We're going to have to run around and look anyway. Want to go to the birch forest and go gather up birch bark. Hopefully all we have to do is hang out here mostly. Don't necessarily want to go to coastal and do all that, but we will if we have to. And quite realistically, we are killing time.
Can you eat trees?
Because... Ooh, rifle cart. Haven't even been over here. What is our gunsmithing skill at? I just thought about that. I was like, I wasn't even going to take this, but... Oh, we are like right there.
Well, this stuff will come in handy.
That book might just put us over. Might as well use it. Okay, take the feathers. Oh, is that another feather? It is. Maybe we can make some arrows while we're here. So even if this takes a week of in-game time, I mean, we're at like 182 days. So if we're headed back by day 200, you know, that's like 3 weeks. I'm okay with it. We're not in a hurry. We're basically trying to get the 500 day badge on this. We may even try to do 1,000 days, but I really don't know what I'm going to do for 1,000 days. Running a long series has never been my strong suit. I mean, even when I did Dead World, I never thought I was going to go, 90 episodes. I didn't think it was going to live that long. I'd done 4 runs prior to that and didn't live long enough. So, I always felt Dead World was going to be such a harsh challenge that I would never live, more than 20 or 30 episodes at the most. But that one ran 90. And so I really like the new series I'm doing, the Testing My Limits, because I'm putting caps in place to not allow a series get too out of hand. I really enjoy the early game, the setup. Currently we're doing one called Only Fish, and that's been kind of interesting. And I don't know how many episodes we're going to get done. Hey, we got a little bit of wolf meat outside. Gamey bear meat. Chased down by gamey wolf meat. There you go, Astrid. Nice and well fed. Now, what do we have in the curing box? Oh, we got all kinds of cured meat in there. Okay, so got that. We got a house full of food. Tons of stuff. It's midday. Why is it so dark? Hey, what do we got here? Ruined venison pie. We got coffee here that we might take back with us. This coffee's almost gone. These are starting to finally get to the end of days here. What's in here? Oh, cattails. Okay, we got more food there. All right, so now let's do this. Let's put all our acorns in here. Let's do our burdock. All of our mushrooms. All of our... Perfect. And then... we got stuff to make a bow. We got all kinds of guts here. Those cured guts and those cured guts look different. So what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 5 maple saplings there. Do we have any birch? See hammer? How about in here? We have one arrow shaft. Maybe we could... Here we go. There's birch in here. All kinds of stems. Birch bark. We'll leave that there. Got a very weak bow. How's our bow doing? 89. We're good. We could make another one before we leave. Seeing how we're here. Got fire hardened arrows. Oops, we're not doing that. Some birch bark. Plenty of matches. Furniture. Oh, that's right. We didn't bring up the other. Oh, we have the wood rights, bro. I completely forgot about this being here. All right, we just leave that there. We don't. No need to mess with that. There's a certain amount of discovery coming back. Oh, that's right. We moved it closer, but all right. Let's do a couple of arrow shafts. I think I had 2 arrowheads, so I should have enough to do 2 simple arrows with the tools in an hour and a half. Okay. And drop the tools. How are we doing on weight? We are not crazy overweight. Okay. So probably shouldn't go far. Get a drink here. Notice. Ooh, don't have much water. Well, let's not run out of the house without getting some water. Here's some more coffee, too. Well, we'll definitely maybe take another thing of coffee. Drink, Astrid. And we'll take one more. And if we fire up the stove, we'll get a ton of water. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to walk down the road here a little ways. I don't think there's a need to seriously engage in going too far. It's not terribly late, but it's not super early in the day. But I'm going to go to that where that little burnout house is, and maybe over by Draft Dodgers. There's a lot of materials over there. Of course, if it gets terribly late, we can just stay at Draft Dodgers. I think we've got plenty. We got plenty of food on us for the moment. Maybe at some point we can go back to Coastal Highway. We have so much fish and food to eat there at Quonset. Maybe I'll just do a short hibernation run, like to eat up a week. I don't want to do long. That'll even that Even the idea of doing a week is probably going to be boring. Where you basically just eat long enough to get a good night's sleep and then pass time the whole day. It's kind of an arduous thing. I don't know if I'm going to go that far. I don't know if I want to do that or not. That seems kind of cheesy. I've thought about it though, because it's a long haul to 500 days. And I commend people that are dedicated and they do a whole bunch of stuff. I know they spend a lot of time doing safe house customizations, and I applaud them. The creativity, the uh, the the ability to put the time into it, it's all amazing. But unfortunately, I don't have that wired into my head. Well, I guess on One Plus, because we've been warm and not had to worry about teas, we've got rose hips galore everywhere. And I couldn't remember if there was any burdock over here. I wonder if we shouldn't go up to Skeeter's. Maybe I ought to just go all the way up that way. I know I didn't want to get too far from home, but we need more burdock, which my thought is burdock is going to be up by the plane crash over towards the hunter's blind. I think I've seen them over there. And then we've got the bunker and the bear cave on the other side of the plane crash. And I don't remember if this was one of the bunkers or not. Did we keep a note of that somewhere? Prepper bunkers. PV does have one. The hunter's bunker. Okay. So maybe we go check that out. Maybe there's some things that we've left behind over there that can be beneficial for putting together the things we need to do. The zone of contamination. So a couple of long walking videos as we move about. Wolves are being very loud. That's okay. Well, I will say with all these rose hips untouched, making rose hip pie is going to be top priority. I just don't know how much flour might become an issue. We might have to sneak over to Coastal to go grab flour, or maybe we should have looked and seen how much we had at Mystery Lake. Hello, plane crash. Don't remember if this bear is active, but if he is, I wonder if we'll bump him. Yeah, we'll stay up here at the PV bunker. Can't use the other one. We broke it. Doing Sutherland's Tale. That's kind of a heavy sacrifice. Especially if you're doing Interloper, because that's usually a good warm-up spot before you head up to Timberwolf. So, could be a costly, be a bit of a costly decision to make. I don't even know how good our reputation with Sutherland is. I don't even know if he's offering us. I think the last time I looked during the Aurora when on one of the radios, I think maybe in the radio actually at the zone of contamination. That wasn't even offered. All right, my memory of burdock is not coming together here. I see ptarmigans. Buddy, did we touch you? We have. But you have feathers. Feathers are always a helpful find. Alright, let's go over to the bunker here. See what's going on. Not quite night, but by the time we get there. Maybe we sleep the night. Maybe we take a run towards towards Three Strikes. Kind of swing around that way. End up back at the farmhouse. We'll definitely have to go to the birch forest and gather up as much birch bark as we can get. This is going to be an interesting experiment because I've never really watched anybody do it. Some people have been talking in the comments about it, and I may be over preparing. I may not be preparing enough. I have no clue. So half the fun is finding out if I've got my head screwed on it straight, because I changed my mind from doing it earlier because I got nervous about not having enough stuff. So I think I think we can make some preppers pies, and we can make a bunch of the rosehip pies. And then cabin fever isn't quite the end of the world. And you just have to stay up. And we can always use a few stems. I mean, that's what the birch bark tea will help with. Kind of stay out of the birch bark tea until we need to heal. And if we're losing to cabin fever, we'll just drink a bunch of birch bark tea and countermand it. But if we can spread out the teas that keep the fatigue back and then use the birch bark to heal back, I think we probably can do it. No, I think it's going to be a series of tit for tat. Oh, we have stuff here. I don't know. Snares.
I'll take it.
Why? I could use that in my other run. Hey, what? Put that away so you're not playing
Hope nobody
stretchy.
needs this anymore.
Well, I'll take those. Snares. Oh, look. Magnifying book. I don't know if I put those in there or They were hiding there, but if they were hiding there, that's the first time I've ever seen anything. I know we've come here because we had to do the kill with Sutherland. Tea.
Okay.
Well, you know what? Grab that. That'll be a good meal. Oh yeah, look, we've definitely left things behind here. Food. Hey, we could use that hide. Leave the water here.
Probably useful.
Hey, these are still good. Eat jerky. There's more syrup right there. It's also
This has been
ruined.
here a while.
Can we take the other one? Right? Okay. I thought it did. Well, this is a safe practice. So with the bucket here, was he sick? I would see if it was on the other end. He was using it for bathroom privileges, although...
Best be prepared for anything.
I'm impressed that they're still in good shape. But you know what? We're not quite ready for bed, but I have an idea. Here, two things. Let's fuel up the lamp. Okay. And then let's... Oops. You're getting windier outside. Where is that going to be? There it is. I know we're not going to get that far, but let's get as far as we can. 2 hours. All right, Astrid. Big nap. Okay, it's morning enough to read. Still sounds kind of blizzardy, so let's just read this book. We got thirsty. You can't do this while you're thirsty. Go, Astrid, go. Be a gunsmith. Gunsmithing 5. We got something accomplished in this episode. So we're lacking in ice fishing. How funny is that? Mending is going to be... Well, we're going to spend some time mending when we go to grade 2. We need to go shooting, but we need to make more ammo. And we need to go fishing. We just need to go fishing. This 2 is not enough. But we're pretty close. We got, what? Mending, firearms, rifle, and then fire starting, which this is just a matter of starting a few fires. So, all right. Time for the sugar rush. What are we looking at? Oh, it sounded much worse than it was. It's actually a nice day. All right, this might work out. We walk over to Three Strikes, see if we can find any burdock. Whoa! Straight down the hill there, Astrid. Straight down the hill. There's the road and the bridge. We're gonna come around this way. It's about where you spawn in on most PV spawns. Interloper, that is. Hello, bunny rabbit. Somewhere right in this area. Look at that, Astrid. That was a pretty scene there. Lovely views. Hello, Ptarmigan. You could have stayed there. I wasn't going to shoot at you. My first multi-day interloper run started in this spot here. I remember crossing through here to go into Three Strikes. Don't remember how long it lasted. I have a record of it because I had to record it. Some of my most early recordings. A lot of the stuff from the Twitch days is... I'm not sure if it's in my archives or not. I'd have to go digging. Yeah, there's fat here. Bedroll. Not going to touch any of our supplies. Do we really need any more mushrooms? I don't know. I'm going to grab these and I'll leave the other ones. We don't have enough burdock to really make a punch. So unless we find more burdock. Yeah, I have to admit, I miss the early Twitch days when I first started getting into doing recordings and all that stuff. It was interesting. I was really nervous about doing it, and I'd always had this misconception, I think is the best word to say, misconception that the only people that were playing on Twitch were all the really expert players. And when I started to fall in love with this game, found out I was completely wrong. And ended up seeing a lot of people that weren't playing the hardest level or the best players. They were Just enjoying the streaming process. And then streaming got a little difficult. It started to take on the feeling of a job because I was working so many hours, and I still do, but I work way more hours than I'd like to. But work a lot of hours, and so trying to stream on any kind of schedule is really hard. In fact, I feel guilty when I'll find time to stream for a couple of days, and then I don't stream for a month and a half. So anybody that watches me is watching this disaster stream schedule. Look at all these rabbits. Good lord. You guys are multiplying like rabbits. So that's when the YouTube thing kind of took off. I kind of was listening to the way others were returning towards doing videos versus doing Twitch. And less live stream, more recorded stuff. And it's a lot more controllable because, you know, if you get 3 hours, you can record 3 episodes of a show. Whereas if you get 3 hours, you can stream once. Because you really kind of need to stream for 2 to 3 hours to be, you know, putting the time into it. Especially when you're trying to look to get, you know, any kind of money back from it. So if you're an affiliate and you're trying to earn some nickels and dimes from actually streaming, you had to put a lot of time into it. So anybody that makes any money at it, I mean, kudos. I finally reserve the fact that making any money at doing this is it's just going to be something nice that happened. And if I ever do get to a point where it becomes something I can actually, you know, go buy lunch with or something, it'll be nice. It'll be a feather in my cap. But I've reserved to the fact that I don't have the time. But I do enjoy it. Do enjoy it. And I think the one thing that's really come together of late is the podcast. I would have never dreamt that whole scenario. Look, it's a book about sunshine. I love these new effects. Yeah, the podcast was a weird one because of the fact that it was actually suggested to me by somebody who was watching my Dead World runs. And I kind of was like, why me? Who am I to do a podcast? And one thing led to another, and time I was starting to become good friends with Jitwire, and we were doing some collaborative work together, and it finally came to the conclusion that if I was going to do the podcast, I needed a co-host, and the rest is history. And here we are coming up on 18 months of doing the podcast and growing to the point where we could actually monetize the channel. Ah, quiet little corner in here. This is something I need to remember for, like, outer. Because this might be a really good spot.
I think I can use
Hey,
this.
rifle ammo. Perfect. We were just talking about rifling. So it is kind of ironic in a sense that I've spent a lot of time trying to build up an audience here on this channel. And by the way, I guess I should mention this. Didn't even think about it because it's been such a slow growth. Oh, I just noticed the other day we ticked over 600. So if you're watching this far in, thank you very much for being a subscriber and part of the 600 people that are giving me the time of day. It cracks me up that the podcast has done so well, but that's it. That's a community thing. That really isn't. It is much bigger than me. I mean, Jitwire is a big part of that success, and the community at large really has made that a success. But it does feel good when you get to the point where you've got over 1,000 subscribers, and you're given the option to monetize the channel. And although Jitwire and I have a lot to discuss in that department, and we don't really know what we're going to do, it's a neat proposition to kind of come to the conclusion that you actually might have made it. All right. I think what we're going to do is we're going to walk in the door here. And I think I'm going to create a save point. We're just shy of an hour. Look at all this dead food over here. All right, let's eat another piece of this. Get ourselves nice and full. Well, at least I leave myself a really pretty day, and we could probably go birch bark hunting, I guess. So anyway, this will be the save point. And here we are. Thank you, everyone, for joining me on this little walk around. And we did get one thing accomplished. We are now a master gunsmither, thanks to the book. Thank you for letting me talk your ear off on a Wednesday night that I normally don't do recordings and talk about all the things going on, especially with the podcasts. Kind of become a bit of a point of pride of what we've built. So if you're not familiar with that, go check out the Survivor's Corner. Um, it's Jitwire and I's little pet project. So anyway, as we come to a conclusion on this episode, the next episode, obviously, we're going to go do some more hunting and searching for burdock and for birch bark. I think there might be some burdock over by Misty's cave. Maybe we need to go poke our head over there while we're doing birch and that. So I'd like to find a couple more. It seems a little lean right now with two. But anyway, until the next episode, thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.